All right, good morning, everyone. Wow, I am so excited for the school year after seeing so many of you here. All of a sudden, I just got this burst. I don't know if it's the coffee or just seeing you students, but I'm really looking forward to the start of the school year, now that I get to see you all in person. I'm Ms. Montalibano. I'm the Assistant Director of CDS Middle School.
And I'm very, very loud. My name is Mr. Baker. I am the middle school coordinator and I teach grade 7 English. So I'll be teaching some, who's in grade 7? Grade 7, going to grade 7, I'll be teaching you guys your English.
This is a QR code. If any of you want to scan it with your phone, it links to the middle school new student website. And there you can find a bunch of documents similar to what's in your packet. So this is the link if you want to scan it with your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can just scan it with your camera, and it should take you to that web page.
Yeah, there will be lots of answers to questions you could possibly have there.
Before we get started, I want to apologize in advance. I try and learn your names before you come in, but a lot of you I met via Zoom with your masks off, and now that your masks are on, I don't know who anyone is, so I'm sorry about that, but I promise I will learn them quickly. All right, let's get started. You want to go to the next slide? I think we already watched that.
Yep, and I'm going to press this. And it's going to start.
All right.
Welcome.
And guess what? It's not 2020 anymore.
Next slide.
So you all received packets with information on it. There is an acceptance letter, how to log into your email. Also on the front of your envelope, there is your email on it. So your student's email address is right there. We'll talk about how to log in later in the presentation. And students will all receive an ID card on the first day of school. Like I said, here's the QR code again. It takes you to this middle school new student documents page. But if you're not sure how to get there or the code doesn't work, you can go to daltonschool.kr and click that MS button in the middle, and it will take you here to our middle school website. Okay, this is our mission statement, and here at CDS, we pioneer to develop global citizens who will engage in a diverse and changing world with creativity and compassion. Building on the foundation of the Dalton Plan, our mission is to empower students with the habits of mind necessary to lead fulfilling and ethically responsible lives. That's a mouthful, but we do want you to know what this is and what this means here in our context.
So an important part of becoming a middle school student is having good habits of mind as you get older, being able to be more responsible for yourself, thinking for yourself, solving your own problems, and that's something that we support, we expect, and we support here at CDS Middle School.
So in addition to all of your classes, science, math, English, social studies, we want you to practice these skills as well. Being able to communicate your needs, advocate for yourself when you need help, staying calm when you're stressed out, and managing all of your responsibilities. These are things that you practice throughout all of middle school.
All right, let's introduce you to who you will see at our school. We have here our senior administration. We have Dr. Park and Mr. Beck and Mr. Park, who is the director of secondary school.
This is us.
Without masks.
This is what we look like. We have Ms. Chung in the back. She was giving you your packets, and also she's available for interpreting. So if you have questions along the way, feel free, or if you need interpretation, just let us know, and Ms. Chung can come on down and do that for us. And you'll probably be talking to her a lot as parents. If you have questions, she will be the one to answer the phone and help you.
Speaking of help, if you're not feeling 100%, we have these people here to help you out. We have Mr. Che as our guidance counselor, Miss Wolf for learning support, and our school nurse, Miss Park, who you will go to if you're not feeling well. Okay?
All of you as new students in middle school will meet with Mr. Che one time just to see how things are going, to get adjusted. And he's always available to help you if you want to meet with him later. But all new students meet with him for about 15 to 20 minutes at the first start of the school year.
So we'll set those times up with you. Here we have your English teachers. For grades 5 and 8, it's taught by Mr. Cavison. I'm teaching grade 7, that's me. And Miss Keel is teaching grade 6 and EAL.
For math, we have Miss Lee teaching grades 5 and 8, and Mr. Turnick teaching grades 6 and 7.
For social studies, we have Mr. Talk teaching 5 and 7, and Mr. Drews teaching 6 and 8.
Don't worry, it's a lot of people.
There will not be a test. There will not be a test.
Science, we've got Mr. Keel who teaches grades 5 and 8, and Mr. Howell who teaches grades 6 and 7.
Our fine arts department, PE teachers, we have for art, Miss Kim, for music, Miss Van Loon, and physical education, Miss Bernardino.
The reason why we're showing you all these teachers is even if you're in 6th grade or 8th grade or whatever, you will see all these teachers all of the time. So you'll get to know them in some way or another throughout your year or your whole time here at CDS. So it's okay if you don't remember them all, but we just want you to know, be familiar with the faces that you will be seeing once you are in school.
Yes, and if you want to go back and look at these faces and learn a little bit more about each teacher, you can visit the daltonschool.kr website, and there you can find the teachers page, and you can see a little blurb about each teacher. I think it should be updated soon.
We have a lot of world language teachers. Everyone takes Korean, so we have Miss Kim, Miss Yang, and Miss Son. For Chinese, we have Miss Wong, Miss Lu, and Miss Gong. And for Spanish, we have Mr. Polk, Ms. Lopez, and Mr. Goldstein.
I was going to try and help you out there.
Thank you. So all of you take Korean, and then for world languages, you'll either have English as an additional language, Chinese, or Spanish. Not all of them. That would be really cool, but unfortunately, just one.
There'll be a lot more studying. But.
Yeah.
All right. These are called the 6 C's. Right now, this is all new for you, but I would say after about 3 months at Dalton, you will all be familiar with 6 C's as they're all over the school and we talk about them a fair bit. These are our ESLers. These are what we kind of want our values of our students to have as they move forward in their education and in life. We want them to be able to collaborate, to have curiosity, to communicate well, understand the importance of community, and use their critical thinking, and that all encapsulates well with character, building character as we hope to do with our students here at CDS.
Another thing that you'll hear a lot in middle school is RISE. These are kind of, does anyone know, actually pop quiz, sorry Mr. Baker.
Go ahead.
Does anyone know what the mascot is for CDS?
I know.
We've got someone who knows, yeah.
Eagle?
Close. It
Very
is
close.
a winged creature, not an eagle. It's more mythical. Try again.
Phoenix?
A phoenix, yeah.
That's correct.
So phoenixes rise from the ashes. So our kind of 4 behavior expectations for all CDS middle school students are they are an acronym RISE. So we want students to be respectful, to have integrity, to be safe, and to be engaged. So you'll hear a lot about this all year in all of your classes, but it's just something to be aware of, that these are what we expect, and we hope that you aspire to be as students here.
Okay. What makes our school unique? from other international or foreign schools is our Dalton plan, our association with Dalton, New York. So let's go into a little bit about that. With the Dalton plan, we have 3 parts: house, assignment, and lab. And we're going to go into what those are. Now, the next slide. House. House is every morning when you come to the school, except for Fridays, you will go to house. And it's about a 10, 15-minute morning meeting when you come in, and the teacher, make sure you're here, make sure you're wearing a uniform, make sure everything's okay. You'll have 2 house teachers, and they'll be looking at your emotional well-being as well as checking up on your academic well-being as well. Okay, we'll do that through Powerschool, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But you have 2 teachers looking after you each day to make sure that everything's good, okay, and that you can communicate with as well.
Your house is kind of like your homeroom or your advisory, so most of you have probably had something similar to that. It's sort of your home base for, you go to all of your classes together, and you are always with that group for most of your classes. So it's important that you know which house you are in.
And you will find out your house on the first day of school. So here is the morning house, where we do announcements, check attendance, as I said, uniform check, and we'll, if we have time, look at some news or play some trivia and get organized for our day.
It's also a time for reflection and sharing. Once a week, we have something called Longhouse, which means instead of that 15 minutes, we have another 40 minutes to kind of talk as a class together about maybe some reflections. Maybe it's something like focusing on something we did last year was self-advocacy, so when to know when to ask for help and how to do that. About being a good friend or how to stay organized. So that Longhouse once a week on Wednesdays is when that's done.
Yeah, and those kind of link back to our 6 C's that we talked about earlier. And there's also time for some fun activities then as well. During Longhouse, we have a social and emotional learning program, which helps us to teach what we were just talking about, the organizational skills and respect and relationships, and that carries out throughout, kind of all of our classes, but especially during Longhouse.
So the second part of the Dalton plan is called the assignment, and this is similar to a syllabus. All of you will get an assignment digitally for all of your classes, and it kind of breaks down what you are learning for each unit of each class. So it has things like, what is the topic? What will my assessment be? What are we trying to learn in this unit? What are the big takeaways or the learning objectives of the target of the unit?
Yep, so that's a place for, students and parents as well can have a look at what's going on in each class. Lab takes place 4 times a week, in a way. It's Mondays through Thursdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we use the lab time as a silent reading opportunity. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, however, that's time to meet with teachers, to get extra help, to get homework done, or to visit the library. So it's a time for the students to demonstrate their responsibility to take care of the things that they need to take care of. If they didn't get a piece of homework done, or if they have an assignment, or if they have a group work project, the responsibility is on the student during this time to make the right decision. Okay?
So at middle school, we talk a lot about having freedom, right? You get to walk to your classes, different parts of the building for your classes, but it's also a lot of responsibility. It's different from elementary school where you're kind of all in one classroom together at the same time. So we talk about with this freedom comes a lot of responsibility, and it takes a bit of learning and adjustment, especially being at a new school, right? Like learning where your locker is and how to get to class. But it's a responsibility that all of you will adjust to really well over the course of the year.
Yes, and at the same time, the teachers and we are here to help support you with that responsibility with reminders when you need them, okay? Speaking of, what should you do in these scenarios? Okay, looking for some responses from you guys. What can you do? If you can't find your class, how can you demonstrate your responsibility, your critical thinking? What can you do? Yes, sir.
Ask an adult.
Ask an adult, so ask one of your teachers. All right, great, that's a good idea. Anyone else? What other ideas, what other strategies would we have? Yes? Ask your friends, great. Throughout the day, usually you will be going from class to class with your classmates. So, it's a good idea to follow them. Unless you're going to world languages, then you kind of split up. So, ask a friend, ask an
Something
adult.
that all of you will have when school starts is a student mentor. So you'll have someone in your class who's been at CDS for a while and can kind of show you the ropes, show you how to get to class. So a great answer for this question, I can't find my class, is to ask your mentor.
Yeah, and I think I just want to say, one thing we can think about responsibility is that an idea about responsibility is that you have to do everything yourself. But I think it can be really responsible to ask for help. If you need help, asking for that help is a great sign of responsibility. Just because responsibility, the onus is on you, it doesn't mean that you have to know all of the answers. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ooh, how well were you listening? It's lab time, and I don't know what to do. Does anyone remember what we use lab time for here?
Yes? Do homework, work on projects, good? Yes? Visit the library, take some time to visit the library, for sure, yes? Sometimes reading, Mondays and Wednesdays. Have your book ready. That's my favorite time of the week. I read as well.
So, right, lab time is the time to catch up. You determine what you need to work on, and you do it.
Yep, and if at the beginning of lab you don't know what to do, that's okay, as long as you're responsible to think about, okay, well, what do I need to do? And then figure that out.
I keep losing my stuff. I think this bothers me more than anyone else. Or maybe Miss Chung.
It doesn't bother me if the clothes fits me. And I just take it.
What should you do in order to prevent this from happening? You got a favorite hoodie, and you don't want to lose it. What should you do?
Pardon? Wear it? Yeah, well, you could keep it on, but
What
sometimes
if
it might
it's
get a bit
really
too
hot out?
hot. You want
just
to take it
came
off?
from recess. Yeah.
Stuff it in your locker and don't forget the combination.
Stuff it in your locker.
Yep,
Don't
that's
forget
it.
the combination. But what if it's recess and you're playing soccer and you take it off, you throw it on the field, and then I find it later? What would be helpful?
Write your name on it. Excellent, thank you.
Put your name on everything that is important to you, especially here with uniforms. Everyone has the same hoodie. Write your name on the tag. If you have a favorite pencil case, make sure your name is on it so I can find it and say, oh, this belongs to Jude, right? Our Lost and Found grows and grows and grows throughout the year because names are not on things.
Yeah, we're proud of having a relatively small school with small classroom sizes. You will not believe how much stuff we collect, despite having a small student body. So please, put your name on things so we can get it back to you, okay? Okay, if you're not happy with the grade you got in math, or any subject, you're not happy with that math grade, you just took a math test, you're not happy with the grade, what do you do? What do you do? Yes? Ask your math teacher to help with the subject. Oh, great. That's a great mature response. Yeah, ask for help to find out what you didn't know. Good. That's great. We usually go through a bunch of other answers before we come to that conclusion. So we had a whole routine about it.
Yeah. What we don't want
We'll go over the routine.
what we don't want is for you to go home and say, Mom, look at this test. I'm so mad. And then your mom calls Miss Chung and says, my child is so mad. Why did they get a D on their math test?
They studied so hard.
Being in middle school, it's your responsibility, right? It's okay to find things difficult. If everything was easy, you wouldn't be in middle school. You wouldn't be in school, right? It's okay to make mistakes and learn things, but with that freedom comes responsibility. You need to ask for help. And teachers are so happy to give you a second chance or to work with you during lab. but we need to know that you need help. And that's, sometimes some of that responsibility is on you, the student.
Okay, so this is a big one for you guys at the beginning of the year, joining a new school with all new classmates. It's been hard to make friends. This is very common, of course, when you join a new school. What can you do? What are some things that you can realize or that you can do to help you out in this area?
Or what are your strategies for making friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, try saying hi, communicating. Yeah, that's a good way. Being open to say hello to new people. Yeah. Anyone else?
I like finding people with similar interests.
Yeah.
I like to read, Mr. Baker likes to read.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about what we're reading.
Yep. And you can look around, and I'm sure that you will meet people who share your interests.
I think there are a lot of basketball and soccer players here. I
Mhm.
remember talking to you over last year.
Yep. Be open with things that you are passionate about. If you really like basketball, don't be afraid to say, does anyone want to play basketball? If you like drawing, don't be afraid to share that with others, and you will find others with like interests, okay?
But if you are having trouble making friends,
Yes, on
We're
top
here.
of that.
We're here.
If those things don't work, communicate with your mentor, who's going to be working with you, and if beyond that, definitely communicate with your house teachers. If you're really feeling like you're having a hard time, like your strategies have not worked, then you come and talk to your house teachers, or us, or any teacher that you connect with that you feel comfortable to talk to, and go ahead and do so. It doesn't have to be your house teacher, okay?
all right, before we move on, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of new things, a lot of new words and names. Do you have any questions about anything before we move on?
Anything so far? Any questions? Are we doing a good job? Is it okay? Can you hear us and everything? We're a little bit funny. Okay.
All right, we are going to talk about something called CCs, Co-Curriculars. This is something that happens during the school day. So all of you, no matter what you have going on after school, you all get to participate in CCs.
Yeah, and this, just a moment ago, we talked about sharing your interests and with others. This is a great way to do that because the CCs have a whole lot of teacher interests that are being shared with you that you can participate in.
So this happens 3 times a year, and there will be a certain day and a time to sign up via Google Forms.
Usually on a Sunday.
Yeah. And you get to select your top 3 choices of which CC you want. And we try and give you at least one of those choices. They are first come, first served, but we hope that you can find something that interests you or something new that you want to learn about.
Okay, we should probably give some explanations of what CCs can look like. We have drama club, we have guitar club. Now, these might not necessarily be offered every season. So, don't come in on the first day with your guitar and be really excited. There might not be guitar in the first season. We have to see. We have a 3D printing CC in the past. We have had the Escape Room Design Club, which was really cool. I run the Dungeons and Dragons Club. That's what I'm really passionate about. And so I share that with the students. I'll be doing that in the fall.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We have basketball. Usually basketball is offered. We also have had Moribon. I have not joined that because I'm a little bit nervous about singing.
So fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, I only like to sing alone. It's for the sake of everyone. We've had Drawing Club, which was a student-run CC. So if you have something that you're really passionate about that is not being offered, don't be afraid to come to us and say, hey, Mr. Baker, I would really like to run a juggling. Whoa. Can anyone juggle? I'd really like to run a juggling club. Then we will find someone to help facilitate you sharing your passion with others. Just hope you can juggle.
I can learn how to juggle the CC. So like Mr. Baker said, those are just some examples, and they change every season.
And
So,
it's in the school day.
yep, Mr. Cowson might offer guitar club in the fall and then not again for the year. So it changes, and sometimes kids are like, there's nothing I want to do here. These are boring. No, thank you. So what we say to that is try something new. It's only for a season, right? Just a few months. You can give something a try. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to do it forever. But this is the time to find what you're passionate about and to try new things. You might not know that you like Dungeons and Dragons until you try it. So give it a shot, because it's not permanent.
Mhm.
And you might find something that you really love.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask questions about the CCs as well. Like when we announce the CCs, the teacher's name will be there, and if you have more questions, you can talk to them about it.
So something different from CCs are something after school. And these are after school programs. So these are not mandatory. You can join only if you are interested and you want to. And again, with COVID, we're not quite sure what that will look like this year, but we're hopeful that we can continue with these after school programs.
So after-school programs in the past, you will sign up, the announcements will be made. If we have ASPs, you will get an announcement I believe, in our morning announcements as well. There you'll be able to fill out a form for what you're interested in. And again, this is not mandatory. This is only if you're interested and if it's offered.
So we have a range of different ASPs, after-school programs like swimming, band.
The Avengers, band.
And sports. Again, not mandatory, but it's optional. And again, with COVID, we're hopeful that at minimum we can at least have practices together after school, but we're not sure about what games will look like yet.
Yeah.
If you go to the next slide, Mr.
Mhm.
Baker, I think it shows kayak. Kayak is the division of, or conference of all of the schools, the international schools in Korea that we compete against. So we are a part of kayak, but with COVID, I'm not really sure if we'll be able to play this year.
If we do offer, likely we will not be competing against other schools unless the numbers go way down, but we would still be able to have practices as normal, if we have them.
So what sports do you guys play? Yeah.
Basketball,
What
nice.
else?
Volleyball.
Volleyball, good. Basketball and volleyball are both hugely popular amongst our middle school student body.
And your teachers are your coaches, great coaches.
Yeah,
I coach volleyball.
amazing volleyball coach.
But we offer a lot of different sports. We have 3 seasons just like CC's. So in the fall, it's usually cross-country, soccer, and badminton.
And these practices would run twice a week after school, with games when they do happen on Saturdays.
All right. Like I showed you before, all of this information is available on our CDS Middle School website. So if you go to our daltonschool.kr and click that MS, it will take you here, and there's lots of information here.
That's last year's calendar. We will update that with this year's calendar. But you already have a copy of this calendar in the packet that you've been given today.
And it's also on the website.
Yes. All right, this is what the schedule will look like.
You do not have your schedule yet. You will get it on the first day of school, but we wanted to talk a little bit about what school looks like for you. So you will usually have about 5 classes a day, 5 periods a day. They're 70 minutes long. We have the CCUs on Wednesdays and Fridays like we talked about. We got Longhouse like we talked about. But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet that's on here. What is that? What haven't we talked about yet? Oh, thanks, Mr. Baker. Flex! We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep. And this is a sample distance learning schedule in the possibility of learning online, which we don't really want to talk about. Then a sample schedule. You'll have the same schedule that you would have on a normal day with links to Zoom links for each of your classes on your schedule. And you would not be responsible for things like recess and lunch. CC.
So the good thing is if we are online, your schedule doesn't change. You don't need to remember a whole new schedule. All you need to do is find where your distance learning schedule is, which will be shared with you, and you'll just click the link and it'll take you to the Zoom class at that time.
Okay.
Where did our folks go?
I know.
Okay, well, if we have distance learning, let's maybe do a summary, something to brag about a little bit. Here at CDS, we didn't have any cases of COVID last year. We were really lucky that we didn't have to shut down because of a COVID case. But unfortunately, the numbers are quite high in Korea right now, and we want to have you all on campus, but it needs to be done safely. So in the event that we do go online this year, it's a lot of screen time. Like your eyes get really tired by the end of the day, and you're like, I need to move around, I need to do some jumping jacks. There are times during the day that you should be taking breaks, right? Stretching, go to the bathroom, get a snack, go play outside for 10 minutes. You shouldn't be in front of the screen all day.
Did everyone here online learning? Yes? Nobody escaped the reality of online learning?
Raise your hand if you have done online learning before.
If you have, I think it's easier if you haven't learned online, if you've lived somewhere prior to living here, everyone, so we've all been through it. So we all know what the deal is for sure. So yeah, we give these reminders to everyone to be taking screen breaks, do things you need to do in between classes, because we still want to maintain that focus and still offer authentic learning during those class times.
Some reminders. Phones can be very tempting. Just like at school, we encourage you not to be on your phone. At school, it's a rule. No cell phones at school unless you have permission from a teacher. But same with distance learning. I know it's easy to have your phone and chat with your friends, or play a game, or watch a video while you're doing work. But we want you to focus on school during the school day, even if you're at home learning. Another important reminder is in anything you do, whether you're home or at school, make sure that you're logged into your Dalton email. You all have your email on your envelope, right? It's a Google account, and I have several Google accounts. Well, we want to make sure that you're on the Dalton School one, because that's how you can access all your files.
Yep, and it's a simple mistake that if you already use Gmail and you log in or you go into your Gmail and you go to do something in the Dalton and it's the wrong Gmail, then just always double check to make sure that you're logging in with your Dalton account. Okay, these are the slides we were looking for earlier. Flex time. Flex is, I think, really unique to Dalton. Developed by Ms. Montalibano a number of years ago. And it is something that I'm really excited about as working at Dalton and in the middle school. I'll go into exactly what it is.
So flex time is a time on Wednesdays. Everyone in middle school has flex time at the same time. And it's a short word, right? Flex, for being flexible. So kind of like lab time, it's a time for you to get what you need. So maybe you weren't happy with your math test, right? And you want to meet with your teacher. So you could say, Miss Lee, can we meet during flex so I can get help with math? Or Mr. Baker might say, you know what, Junior, this essay is really difficult for you. Why don't you come in during flex time and we can work together on this? Sometimes you might have a group project and you live in Gangnam and your friends live in Songdo and another one in Cheongna, and it's hard to work together on that project. You might use flex time to work on that project. So it's really a time for you to get the support that you need to be the best student that you can be.
And time for you to be responsible to ask for help when you need it, okay? Okay, our Fine Arts program for grade 5. You guys, who's in 5th grade? Raise your hand, please. 5th graders, raise your hand. 5th graders, you will have both music and art, as well as 6th grade. 6th grade, you will have music and art. 7th grade, you will not have art, you will only have music. In 8th grade, you will not have music, you will have art. Now for 7th and 8th grade, with that other time slot, we use the SDL time, self-determined learning.
Has anyone heard of self-determined learning before? This is also something that's kind of special to CDS. SDL, or self-determined learning, is a time where you as students get to decide what you want to learn. So maybe someone is super interested in fashion, and unfortunately in 8th grade we don't have a class called History of Fashion. So you spend your class time learning about the history of fashion. At the end you do a presentation like a TED Talk to an audience. Another thing that you might do is a skills project. So you might learn, you might say, I want to know how to juggle, and I don't know anything about it. So you spend several months learning, and at the end you show, or you track your progress, and you set goals, and then you learn a new skill. This is something all 7th and 8th graders take here at CDS Middle School.
Okay. For our world languages, like we said, if you are not in EAL, then you will be choosing between studying Spanish or studying Chinese.
Oh my gosh, we really want you to see the website.
Yeah, yeah, we've put that in there a number of times. And once again, this is our CDS website. Lots of information that we're talking about there you can find at adultonschool.kr, clicking on MS. Okay.
So in that, that's why I put it in there, Mr. Baker.
Ah.
On those, if you go to that new student document page,
Yep.
right at the bottom,
On new student documents.
it will lead you to a lot of different surveys. And many of you have already filled out this world language survey. But if you haven't, it's important that you do that so we know which world language you prefer to take. Like I said before, all of you will take Korean. We have different levels of Korean, right? Some of you have lived abroad for most of your life and maybe can understand a little bit, but prefer or are more comfortable in English. So you might go to Korean as a second language or an additional language. Some of you are coming from Korean schools and you're very comfortable reading and writing in Korean. So we want to be able to have you develop those skills to be multilingual, because that's an awesome skill to have in life.
Should we have the QR code happen at the end? No. Okay. Communication at CDS, who to contact. If it's related to tuition, then you would call the main CDS office. You can find these phone numbers on their website. Attendance, events, and uniforms is shown in the back. You call middle school office, she'll sort you out. Textbooks, which you will have, I'm sure, questions about textbooks. Then that's sorted out by the library. Grades and issues in class, subject to teacher, or if it's a relationship issue, your house teachers. Social emotional welfare. Contact the house teacher. I would recommend contacting the house teacher first, and then the guidance counselor if your child is working with the guidance counselor.
We're also here to help.
Yep.
Like I said at the beginning, and Mr. Baker has said, we are a smaller middle school. We're about 130 students, and we know we don't know you yet, but we will get to know you really well by the end of the year. And if you are feeling uncomfortable, or if you have questions, or if you want to chat, we are here to help too. And I bet all of you will go to Ms. Chung in the first couple weeks with a question, so you'll get to know Ms. Chung very well too, very quickly.
Powerschool.
Has anyone used Powerschool before? A lot of schools use Powerschool to check their grades. One person?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right. Powerschool. So Powerschool is the place where you can go and check on your grades, check on your overall grades, as well as individual assignments, tests, projects that you've had graded. You would all find there. for each of your classes.
So let's say I'm wondering how I'm doing in social studies. Well, I've got a 96. That's pretty good. But I want to know a little bit more about that, so I could click on that. Thank you. Click on that 96 and it will break down all the things that I've done in class. It might also be, you know, maybe that 96 turns to a 72 and you're like, what happened? And then it'll show you if something is missing. And you can say, oh, Mr. Drews, I'm so sorry. I thought I turned this in. Let me submit that to you. So it's a good way for you to track your assignments.
And don't ever lose hope or you know, get too frustrated if you see a drop or if you see something's missing. Don't be afraid. Don't get upset. Just talk to your teacher about it, just to rectify and to find out what happened, and find out what you can do. Okay.
Ms. Chung is going to come down and explain in Korean about how to log into Powerschool for you as parents and students. Ms. Chung, maybe please. That mic.
네, 안녕하세요. 저기 이번 보시고 있는 슬라이드는 저희 홈페이지에도 올라가 있는 거니까 너무 걱정 안 하셔도 되고요. 일단 여기 나와 있는 링크로 접속을 하시면 제가 패키지 안에 넣어드렸는데 학부모님과 학생마다 다 개별적으로 아이디랑 비밀번호가 생성이 되어 있어요. 그래서 글로 들어가시면 되고요. 네, 아이디 같은 경우에는 I am student 첫 이름 그리고 성 예를 들면 I am 유진정 이런 식으로 아이디가 만들어졌고요. 그리고 패스워드 같은 경우에는 모두 다 동일하게 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6인데 일단 로그인 하시면 8글자 이상으로 개별적으로 번호를 변경하셔야 합니다. 그리고 부모님 같은 경우에는 학생의 이름과 성, 그 다음에 parents를 뒤에 붙였어요. 그래서 유진정, parent 이렇게 들어가신 다음에 비밀번호는 동일하게 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6으로 설정을 해드렸어요. 이게 안 되시는 분들은 나중에 저한테 따로 연락을 주시면 제가 아이디랑 패스워드 다시 한번 공지 드리겠습니다. 그리고 처음 로그인 하실 때는 반드시 컴퓨터로 하셔야 하고요. 그 다음에 비밀번호를 변경하신 이후부터는 모바일로도 사용이 가능하십니다. 비밀번호는 반드시 8글자 이상으로 설정을 해주셔야 하고 비밀번호를 잊어버리신 분 같은 경우에는 다시 저한테 연락을 주시면 제가 재설정을 해드립니다. 핸드폰으로 하실 경우에는 디스트릭트 코드가 필요한데요. 이거는 알파벳 4글자를 입력하시면 되고 이것도 나중에 잊어버리신 경우에는 저한테 연락 주시면 다시 알려드리겠습니다. 네, 그리고 비밀번호를 제가 지금 설정해드렸는데 비밀번호 입력하시고 안 되시는 분들은 제가 재설정을 해드릴 거예요. 이 비밀번호가 유효기간 같은 게 있더라고요. 그래서 24시간이 지나면 다시 재설정을 해야 하는 경우가 있기 때문에 안 되시는 분들은 저한테 오피스로 연락 주시면 제가 도와드리겠습니다.
I don't speak Korean, but my biggest reminder for you for Powerschool is to make sure you're on the computer the first time you log in, and if you forget your password and need to re-log in, make sure it's on the computer, because I know Ms. Chung gets a lot of calls about having problems on the phone, but make sure you do it on the computer for the first time. But there is also an app.
And make sure that you do change your password
Yeah.
to a unique password, because it's very easy for anyone to figure out your password if you don't change it.
All of you have a form in your folder that you received with that information on it as well. And it's also on our website.
So getting into Google, has everyone, who has not used Google before?
Like Google Classroom,
Google Classroom,
Google
like Google
Docs.
Everyone is familiar with Google? Okay, just as a reminder, this one up here we call the waffle. You can click on that when you go to Google and see all of the, or many of the things that we use in the Google suite of products. With your Gmail probably being the most important one there.
So these are kind of the things that you as students will use the most, but I did put maybe Google Classroom is the next one. So you'll use Google Docs to do a lot of your assignments, Google Slides as well, and then Drive is where you keep all of your things. It's important to keep your Drive organized. I used to be so good about this, and you forget about organizing your Drive, and it's like a messy bedroom, and
That's my
you
Drive.
don't want to clean it. Keep your Drive organized.
Yeah, my Drive is really messy, I apologize. There's Google Classroom, and so students, you will all be invited to Google Classrooms for each of your classes. And the English teachers, we will send the notifications to parents for you guys to be able to sign up for your version of your child's Google Classroom. It's very important, I'm not sure if there's a slide for this now. It's very important that you click on parent notifications weekly. Is that the next one? Yeah, weekly summary. If you do not do the weekly summary, you are going to be inundated daily with multiple Google Classroom notifications on your phone. So please just do that weekly for your own sanity.
All right. So all of you in middle school will get a Chromebook, and it's something that you'll use in all of your classes, and it lives at school, meaning it lives in your house, actually, your house classroom. So that's where you'll pick it up in the morning, that's where you'll charge it at night, make sure and charge it every night.
Make sure you charge it, yeah.
And you'll have a case as well, so make sure it's in its case.
Yep, make sure going class to class, you keep it in your case, and make sure that you bring it to class with you and that you take it from your class to your next one.
And it's also a privilege, right? So make sure that you're using it responsibly and safely.
Yep, and we can kind of be, like we said, we're here to help you with your responsibilities, but for something for like the Chromebooks, if you leave your Chromebook in one classroom and go on to the next one willy-nilly and not worrying about it, then likely the teacher will take that Chromebook, put it in the library, and you don't get it until tomorrow, until the next day. Then you have to use the in-class from the old Chromebook.
This again, is this in the no? Okay, this will be on the website. I think it already is. Here's some of the policy for you as parents about Chromebooks and if it gets broken.
Yep, basically if your Chromebook is you know, if the key falls off or if it breaks age or normal circumstances, then the school will fix it. You know, however, if you decide to kick the Chromebook down the stairs, then you would have to buy a new one. Okay,
If you
can
have
find-
problems with your Chromebook, you'll tell your house teacher, and she'll probably send you to the library, and you'll either get one to borrow while it's getting fixed, or yeah, and we'll send yours away. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
All right. All of the student emails, like I said earlier, your email is on the envelope. It is your first name, dot, or period, last name, plus your graduation year from high school, not from middle school. So if you click again, sorry, I should get rid of these transitions one more time, or one more.
Nope.
There we go. So if you're in 5th grade, your email will end in 29, 6th grade 28, 27, 26. All of your passwords right now is CDS 2021-22. However, like Powerschool, make sure you change it so people don't know what your password is. This is what your password is the first time, but please change it when you log in the second time.
All right, our middle school library, just a quick introduction to the middle school library. You can borrow 2 books at a time for up to 3 weeks, but you need your ID card. There you can take AR quizzes, so you do that in your Chromebook in your classroom as well. You can use the library to study and do homework. You have access to printers to make copies. We have a wide selection of books and magazines and a librarian there to help you.
Textbooks. You all should have received a textbook list. In 5th and 6th grade, you rent or borrow most of your textbooks from the library, but there are some that you need to buy. Well, I guess in all grades. There are some textbooks that you will borrow from the library for the year, and others that you need to purchase, like workbooks where you write in.
Novels for English class.
Great. So make sure you take care of your borrowed textbooks, otherwise we'll have to pay for them.
Some required school supplies here include these binders to help you stay organized. So that's a 4 white D-ring binder, and we can They have access to this, you have access to this, you can click on the link to see exactly what it looks like, and index divider packets.
And in our first week of school, you will all be doing my favorite thing in the world, which is color coding and organizing. If you go to the next slide,
Yep.
we'll have a binder for each of your classes. So we'll help you organize that and color code it. If you want to get ahead of everyone and do that before school starts, you can. But we'll do that during house, probably the first week of
Yeah.
school.
Here we are. There are some students doing just that, organizing the binders with color coding systems. Okay, that's all the logistical stuff.
What questions do you have about what we've talked about so far? You must be doing a really good job if you don't have questions. Yes?
Yes, the Chromebook is provided by the school.
Yes.
Yes.
But it stays at school overnight.
What about, like, if the student can bring their own laptop, is it possible?
No, that has to wait for high school. High school students can bring their own laptops and notebooks, but we ask for middle school students all to use the middle school Chromebooks. That's security issues for us here at the school as well.
Yeah. Another question in the back? Yep.
The email the password for adults in school, you're not allowed to put the time to use it.
I would recommend it. I mean, being a school email, so the question was, can she use the school email for personal things? Is that right? I wouldn't recommend it because it would be a lot of like missed things, and also we have access to all of that too. Being a school account, we can see everything. So if there are things that you want to keep separate, I would use your own account.
Good question.
Yeah. Anything else?
Okay, caveat here for these next few slides. The events have of course changed because of COVID, and all of the slides are here. I believe we didn't update any pictures because of the COVID and the mask wearing. These are all photos and videos from prior to COVID, so.
You
see
do wear
everyone's
masks here.
Wearing masks, they're not wearing masks. Okay, types of things we do. We have talent show, Battle of the Books is a big one. That's for grade 5 students only. They participate with grade 4 from FP. We run Changna, we run around the lake park there. We have library nights. We were able to have a library night last year, albeit a smaller one. We have winter writing contests through our English department. We have Bookcon. We've had library, in addition to the library nights, we have Bookcon where we have authors come and visit the school. We were able to do that last year as well. We had an author who was in Seoul and was able to come by. Math competitions. Sports day. Science fair. We were able to do that last year as well, in an online version. Skyman and Dalman, which is like a model UN. And we've had art exhibition and contest. We were able to do that last year as well.
And we raised money for teaching North Korean refugees, and I think last year was our most successful year with the most money raised and the most art. So you as students and us as teachers get to produce art and auction it off for this organization, and it's always very popular, and that happens in the springtime.
Yes. We also have student council. If any of you are interested in running for student council, joining student council, that happens very quickly at the beginning of the year, so you'll hear about that in the first few days. Okay? And student council, these next few slides here are things that the student council are responsible for preparing. Halloween parties. We have an amazing Halloween every year. Spirit Week as well, a full week of different themed activities and days when we can dress up and have some fun.
One of the most cherished field trips that we have is something called Adventure Korea, and unfortunately we haven't been able to have it for the last 2 years. But it is a time where you get to go with your grade to another part of Korea and do some experiential learning. So doing things like zip lining and going to farms and cooking. We went strawberry picking, fishing, lots of different things. So
And that was
I'm
a
hopeful-
2-day trip then, wasn't it?
I'm hopeful we can do it this year, but it's always at the end of May or the end of April, so we
Yeah.
can cross our fingers and hope that that's something we can do this year.
Okay, middle school rules. Pretty simple rules, actually. Dress code, follow the dress code. Pants, shorts, and skirts must be navy blue or beige,
Not black.
not black. Shorts and skirts, they should be modest, sensible. No skinny jeans, leggings, or hats.
You will all have a uniform for PE that you will change into. So before gym, each time you have it, you'll change into your PE uniform. And that should only be worn during PE class. So
Yeah.
you'll change into it and then change out of it.
Yeah, especially when you get up to grade 7 and 8, you don't want to be wearing that thing all day. No.
Sometimes you smell.
Okay, restorative justice. This is something that we're really proud of here at CDS. So let's go into exactly what restorative justice is. If you do something that you shouldn't do, if you have a few moments where you're not thinking and you make a mistake, you do something wrong, we have logical consequences here at CDS. So for example, if you litter, if you eating an apple in the hallway, but you wouldn't be doing that because of COVID, and throw it on the ground, we're not going to give you detention for a week.
We're going to throw you in jail.
We're not going to throw you in jail. We would simply have you pick up that apple core and then probably a number of other pieces of trash around the school so that you learn to keep the school safe and clean. So that's one example. Restorative justice sessions are a fix-it time. They're a time for you to learn about your mistake, to learn what you could have done differently, or why you've done something, or how you can do it differently, how you can do it better. It's not a time of punishment.
Mistakes happen. All of us make mistakes. We make mistakes on a daily basis as adults, and you will too as students. And we don't want you to think that you're over forever. When we throw you in jail forever, it's a time to fix the harm that was caused and to move on and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Again, this goes back to that freedom and responsibility, where yes, you have the freedom and you need to be responsible, and we're here to support that.
This is our last reminder. This is not ours. This is not ours. But please put your name on things, because the things that we find in Lost and Found, we get a lot of water bottles, a lot of books, a lot of glasses. I don't know how you live without your glasses, but make sure that you put your name on things that you can label.
Okay. Write your name on it.
Finally, you will probably be hearing as parents from the Parent Association soon. So please be aware of that. There are cacao groups for each grade, sometimes each house as well. So you will be hearing from parents from your child's grade soon.
Yeah, if not each house, then each grade level.
Yep.
Yeah. First day of school is on August 24th.
Woo!
You will come here. Unless we're online, let's pretend we're not going online. Let's pretend we're all coming in. Let's say we're all coming in. Then you will come to this room on the 24th by 7:50 a.m. At that time, you will see your house assignment on the wall. Do you know which wall it will be on?
All the walls.
All of the walls.
You'll be able to see which house you're in. So houses go by grade, right? So if you're going into 6th grade, you'll be in 6A or 6B, 7A or 7B, 5A, 5B, 8A, 8B. So you'll find out which house you're in, and one of your house teachers will be there.
Yep, and we'll take you up to the classroom.
So unfortunately, on that first day, parents with COVID most likely will not be able to come in, but students who are dropped off will just come right in here on that first day at 7:50.
It's their first moment of freedom and responsibility at CDS. All right, welcome.
We're so happy to have you here. We're really, really excited. I can't wait for school to start now that I've seen all of you. Let's ask or go over some questions. What other questions are you
Yes.
wondering about?
I know we probably do a very thorough job of explaining everything. I think we do, because this is a really long presentation. So I hope you have a lot of information that you have. But of course, you will always have questions, so you feel free to ask them now, or if anything pops up later, you can contact us as well. Questions?
Yes. You can, oh, English or Korean is fine.
Just for your calendar, I can find that the secondary school athletic style in
That is for high school. Yep, just high school. I think that's a good question. Just high school. Middle school sports will start later. Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
It says like some of the calendars are half day.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean?
So on those half days, usually you come to school until 11 o'clock, and then you are sent home on the bus, or your parents pick you up, and then teachers continue working. It's like extra teacher learning time or work time for us. And
It's a sad day.
you get to go home early and
Yeah.
have lunch with your family and friends, and we keep working usually to get ready for parent-teacher conferences, or to just learn more on how to be better teachers. Any other questions? Yeah.
I couldn't understand the online class increase, so my children have to take their class.
The which test?
Online class.
Online class, yes. So as of now, the plan is that you will all come to school on August 24th. We follow whatever the Incheon Office of Education says, based on if we can come to school or not. And as of now, well, today, if school started today, we would be online. But we're still crossing our fingers, and we're hopeful that things will change so that by August 24th, you can come to school. If we are online, we will let you know via email and newsletter as soon as we find out. Does that answer your question? No? Do you want to ask it in Korean? Okay. Maybe Ms. Chung can help you after.
Yes?
When the class does come out, like, is there teachers in your class?
The first day of school.
Oh, okay.
We leave the mystery right up to that 10 minutes before class begins.
Is that like by email or?
No, when you come in, it'll be posted here, so you come into this room, and then you'll go up and look at the wall and find your name, and then you'll know. Yeah, your house teacher, yeah.
And then once you get to your house classroom, that's where your teacher will have your schedules.
Any more questions?
So the next step is kind of two steps. We are going to do a tour of the middle school for just the students. Unfortunately, parents will have to stay here. So we'll walk the students through the middle school. If you want to come and see it on another day, when you're not all here, that's possible. But right now, there's too many people to have in the hallways right now. So we'll take the students to the middle school. And then after that, the students who are staying for the world language test will stay in the middle school, and the rest will come back to here to meet with you, and you are free to go. Okay? All right. So let's take a break, a 5-minute break. At 10:15, we'll head upstairs with the students. There is a bathroom right out here. And at 10:15, we'll head upstairs.